All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And yeah, as you can see, this is a article that I just came across. I was going through RT News. Originally, I had planned to look into this article here, but as I saw it, I was like, this looks pretty pressing. So I read a little bit through it. Now, I've put the link to this article and this following one in the description box. This article here doesn't tell you exactly what's happening. It tells you, what basically it gives you a link to this page right here where in this video they go into it. Now, I haven't watched this video yet, so Lord's willing, I'll do that. But I still wanted to put this information out there. Like I said, I've linked this article in the description box. So if you click on any one of these links, it should take you to this video and you can watch it and see what exactly is going on here, as I will as well. However, from the bit that we are seeing in this article, and at least from what I know about Zero Hedge, they're a pretty credible source. So I doubt they would just put something that's just clickbait, or just false, up on their site like that. So let's read into it a little bit. It says here, warning, prepare for big cash panic, September 20th. Dear reader, as a former Goldman Sachs managing director, I feel it's my duty to warn you about what may be coming on September 20th. It all starts with a new presidential executive order that may directly install major changes to your bank account. Let's see, what does this lead to? Yep, it all leads to the same video. Cool. So I definitely, I'm gonna check out the video after I do this video, but I recommend watching it as well. I don't know how long it is. Let me see.
Hi, I'm Naomi Prince, a former Goldman Sachs.
Okay, so it doesn't show how long it is, but I'm sure she goes and explains what it is that they're talking about here. And a few quotes here is, this is the biggest redistribution of wealth from the middle class and the poor to the rich ever. Another one is, no empire lasts forever. And another quote is, U.S. living standards are about to be squeezed as never before. So I'm sure she will describe some information about that in here. All right. So let's read this here. It says here, and it's all backed by the biggest companies in the world: Citigroup, Ford, MasterCard, Visa, and Coca-Cola. Unfortunately, there's not much time to prepare. Stephen Roach, former chairman at Morgan Stanley, says U.S. living standards are about to be squeezed as never before. Listen, I'm not here to scare you, but I am here to help you prepare. I'll even reveal the exact steps I'm personally taking. If you're worried about soaring inflation, rent increases, credit card debt, and a falling stock market, just wait till you see what's next for America. And that's pretty much what the article shows. So I'll say it again. I've linked this article in the description box. Clicking on any one of these links will take you to that video and you can check it out there. All right. But whatever it is, I'm curious to find out myself, but we know that this place is pretty much on its way out. So let's see what attempts they're going to try to do. Because remember that in trying to institute their change, here it is. There's a perfect crisis here that they can use. So at some point, they're gonna take advantage of this and make their their little run for it, so to speak. All right. So you gotta. That's why the scriptures say watch as well as pray, so you can see. Okay, we see the crisis happening, but you also have to watch to see now what moves are they making within this. That's setting them up for their agenda. But the next article here, and Lord willing, if there's some time after this, I might just start playing a little bit of this video. But it says here, we've lost nothing. Putin warns Western elites. Sanctions fever will see European people freeze. Okay. And what the Spirit is on me to do right now is I'll probably just read this top portion here, and then I'll get a quick precept, and then we'll watch a bit of this video here and just see what it's about. But as you can see, it says one thing in particular that Russian President Putin harped on in his speech before the Eastern Economic Forum is in Vladivostok was that his country has lost nothing in launching the special operation in neighboring Ukraine. We have not lost anything and will not lose anything, Putin said. In terms of what we have gained, I can say that the main gain has been the strengthening of our sovereignty. Putin conceded, however, that Moscow's decision to send troops into Ukraine had created a certain polarization both in the world and within the country. And in a nutshell, what he is saying is, you're going to keep on, trying to you're going to put a price cap, you're doing all these sanctions. It's only affecting you. You're shooting yourself in the foot, and then, you're causing yourself to bleed out, and your people are going to suffer, right? And that's what they're seeing going on. And they know that this gas crisis is further exacerbating this inflation. But I mean, if you truly understand what their goal is, you'll see exactly why they're doing it. All right. So the precept I had here is in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, verse 6. It says, "An end is come, the end is come, it watcheth for thee, behold, it is come." Matter of fact, you know what? Let me go up and start at verse 3. It says, now is the end come upon thee, and I will send mine anger upon thee. Yeah, because the reason all of these things are happening now, and they're happening the way they're happening, is because we're at the end. All right. It's because this is the ending of society as you know it. All right. It says, now is the end come upon thee, and I will send mine anger upon thee. That's why these things are not positive. These are painful things, right? The cost of living going up, not having access to food, being cold. These are not joyful, sweet things, right? And this is because of the Lord's anger. So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is causing this to happen because he is angry, or they are angry, and will judge thee according to thy ways, and will recompense upon thee all thine abominations. And even to this day, with all these things going on, people are still continuing on in their wicked ways. As it says in the book of 2nd Esdras, they shall not, their scourges sent for amendment, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness. Verse 4, "And mine eyes shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity." Meaning these calamities you're seeing, they're going to take effect, and this isn't going to have a happy ever after ending story. It says, "But I will recompense thy ways upon thee, and thine abominations shall be in the midst of thee, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh." Yeah, so through these judgments, right, the Lord is known by the judgment which he executed. Through these judgments, you're going to know who Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is. "Thus saith the Lord God, an evil and only evil, behold, is come." And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the beginnings of that. "An end is come, the end is come, it watcheth for thee, behold, it is come." So this is what we're seeing. All right, we're seeing the end of all things, really the end of this society, and that's why it's looking like this. So yeah, let's take a look at this video. Could watch about 15 minutes if it goes that long, and let's see what it's about.
Managing director. And after spending decades on Wall Street and meeting with the world's highest level executives in Washington, the World Bank, IMF, and more, I need to confess something to you. Life in America is not as it seems. And the real truth of our economy, our volatile stock market, our daily lives, and why the rich continue to get richer is much stranger than you could ever imagine. And if you can't put your thumb on what's really happening in America, today I'm going to reveal the strange force that's strangling the middle class and what's coming next for America. Right now, I am blocks away from my office in Delray Beach, Florida. Behind me, you can see $20 million yachts or these $6 million homes. Delray Beach was once a haven for the middle class. Today, it's home to the likes of celebrities like Derek Jeter and John Travolta. But what's interesting here is not Delray's excessive wealth. It's what's happening just one block away from the world's top 1%. Here, a stunning 1 in 6 residents lives in poverty, tarnished streets, broken down homes, and the crime rate, it's nearly 4 times higher than the average. So how did we get here? How did America become a land of such extremes, where the winners take all while everyone else settles for the scraps? The truth is, this is much bigger than politics or inflation. Almost no one knows why this is happening and why it's about to accelerate beyond anything we've seen before, directly affecting your savings, your job, and even your personal freedoms. Soon, millions of Americans could be pushed into one of 2 groups, the new poor or the new rich. And this troubling trend isn't just local, it's secretly creeping across the nation. Look at San Francisco. A few steps away from million-dollar estates is now an endless row of homeless and rampant drug addiction. Or look at New York City. The city that never sleeps is now the city that sleeps with one eye open. And that's thanks to a 41% increase in crime, even in Manhattan. But in the months ahead, one single force will accelerate a division of every single neighborhood in America, transforming $40 trillion of middle-class wealth to the rich, all backed by a new executive order from President Biden. Simply put, America's land of extremes is about to accelerate to something we've never seen before. I know that may sound dramatic or unlikely, but it's already happening. Experts estimate we could see 263 million people fall into poverty in the coming months ahead. What could end up being a permanent recession right here in America. But today, I will do everything in my power to help you end up on the right side of this new moment in history, revealing the shocking force strangling the middle class and why it's the real reason that 1% of Americans continue to drift farther away at the top while the rest of us stay stagnant. Today, I'll also give you the name and symbol of an investment that folks have used to join the new rich, creating over 100,000 new millionaires, and why I believe the biggest opportunity is yet to come. All the details today are 100% free. Now, follow me back to the studio to get all of the facts for yourself.
Hi, I'm John Burke, and I'll be the host for today's special interview with one of the nation's leading economists and former Goldman Sachs managing director, Nomi Prinz. Sure, it's great to have you here, Nomi.
Great to be here. Thanks, John.
You know, I think that right off the bat, it's safe to say that we're living through a very strange time, right? And from my research, I understand that you were previously at Goldman Sachs directing not one, but 2 teams of financial analysts, earning $1 million salary, but yet you left it all behind.
Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, John, but I left Goldman Sachs for good reason. I was actually disgusted with how Wall Street uses its power to manipulate markets, and that's often at the expense of just regular people. And $1 million salary might sound nice, but if you can't sleep at night, it's worthless. But John, I want to set this straight. I'm not here to vilify Wall Street today. I'm here to warn you of a strange new threat in America. The very reason that you felt that America has changed for the worse, and the very reason why life here is about to hit a new extreme. You see, America is on the cusp of a new catastrophe. It's unlike anything we've seen since World War II. And most people are stunningly unprepared.
Wow. And you know, I think that we're all feeling that something is just off in America, but we're not really sure exactly what's going on. Although I did recently read that 81% of Americans, 81% are worried about a stock market crash. So is that what you're talking about, a crash?
No, actually, not at all. A market crash is actually the least of our worries because crashes come and go, markets recover. But I believe that a new threat will change everything about America for decades to come. And what I see coming could be much worse. A strange force, I'll call it, is creeping under the roots of America, and it's slowly robbing the savings and the freedoms of millions of Americans. And it's all thanks to a group that the Washington Post calls one of the most powerful entities in American government. And if you're caught off guard, it could spell disaster for your entire savings and your way of life. But on the flip side, it could be the biggest opportunity for profit that you may have ever seen in your lifetime. One of 2 things will happen. You'll fall out of the middle class and join the new poor, or you could be among the fortunate who join the new rich.
Wow, that's quite the statement, to say the least. Here's my question: is it really that black and white? And I'm sure you understand my hesitation because this entire country was built on a strong middle class. Many of us, our entire retirement is riding on the stock market, and to be honest, we're hurting right now. So I think I speak for a lot of people when I say I'm terrified, I'm confused, because what you're implying here is a new threat that could be much worse than a stock market crash.
Yeah, John, and I do understand that, but I promise you that once you understand this, you're going to walk away today more confident and more in control than ever before. But you're right. This is a massive shift in our country, and it will unfortunately devastate millions of people. What we're seeing is the biggest heist from the American people in history.
A heist. Okay. How so?
Well, first of all, I don't even know what else to call it. It is a heist. John, the top 1% of Americans have taken $50 trillion from the bottom 90%. But that's just the start, because soon in some areas of America, it's going to look like we've become a third world country with immense wealth and luxury right alongside rampant poverty and squalor. And that's all that could be left, from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco, New York, Florida, and more. And John, I have traveled all over the country and I've seen it for myself.
So what you're saying, Nomi, is as Americans, we risk losing everything in the middle. No more middle class.
Yeah, and this is not a prediction. This is something that's happening. So if you do feel like something in America has been off, your instincts are perfectly right. How could numbers like this be normal, John? Like 1,700 new millionaires are minted every single day. And at the same time, the average American worker is earning $32 less per week than they did in 1974.
Wow.
And the rich are so rich, they're paying for their own private police forces to keep their own neighborhoods safe. And that's all while Americans are losing their homes. Home foreclosures, John, are up a stunning 132% from last year.
Amazing.
In the past, it was possible to just work your way out of a situation like this. Work hard, you save money, but not anymore. Today, the decision that you make with your money and your investments is what's going to determine your financial fate.
But what's the real reason for this? Why is the middle class being strangled?
So, John, something has changed, and it's getting more and more obvious every day. Yet no one in the media or the government is explaining what's wrong, and nothing they're doing is going to get us out of this mess. But when you finally understand the forces at hand, the real reason for soaring prices, political division between the left and the right, the rise of wokeism, and why your investment account is not yet growing like the rich and elite, you might be furious. But at the very least, you're going to be able to act and to protect yourself before it's too late. As you'll see, thanks to a flurry of recent events driven by a strange new force in America, including a new executive order backed by President Biden himself, which is an initiative alongside MIT, the Gates Foundation, the United Nations, Visa, 77 global governments, and a group of unelected officials, life could get much worse from here on out.
So this group of unelected officials that you mentioned, siphoning wealth from the poor to the rich. You're talking about Wall Street?
No, actually, I'm not talking about Wall Street. I mean, clearly Wall Street has benefited from this trend, but they're not causing this problem. They're just exploiting it.
Oh, okay, so let's dive into the details here, Nomi. What's really happening in America? What's going on?
Well, simply put, we're on the verge of a $40 trillion transfer of wealth that could make or break your plans for retirement. Ray Dalio, the founder of the world's biggest hedge fund, says that America's decline will upend lives, not just portfolios. And billionaire Stanley Druckenmiller says that a group of unelected officials isn't just inflating markets, but is shifting a massive amount of wealth from the middle class and poor to the rich.
And there's something the little guy can do to flip this script, to flip this game on its head?
Precisely. And also, John, you don't have to be a financial genius to put yourself on the right side of this trend. The most important thing is to just stop listening to people in authority who are steering you the wrong way and to realize I'm not actually out to help you. I know this firsthand because after writing my book, All the President's Bankers, and speaking with dozens of lawmakers on both sides of the aisle in Washington, I was asked to speak to this exact group of unelected officials, this strange force in America that's shifting wealth from the middle class to the rich. And after my speech, where I told them the truth about how they've quietly been killing off the middle class for decades, I was ignored. I was actually pushed to the side and I was not invited back. So, if you want to know where we're headed as a country, what could happen to your savings and your entire way of life, you need to understand on just a basic level who this group is and what they're doing to our money. Because the end of America's empire starts here. And the ugly truth is, no one can stop this impending $40 trillion transfer of wealth from the middle class to the rich. Not the president, not Congress, not the Supreme Court, not anyone else. Today, this group of unelected officials literally owns our entire financial system.
Wait a minute. What do you mean one single group owns our financial system and the economy?
Well, let me go on from there for a sec. For example, Forbes says this group is more powerful than Congress, yet it has less accountability than even the CIA. That kind of power and privacy is dangerous in the hands of an institution that has a complete monopoly over our money supply.
A complete monopoly over our money supply? Wow. Okay. Who is this group, Nomi? Because I just figured it would be Congress.
No, this strange force in America, and it is strange, is the Federal Reserve. It's America's central bank, the world's most powerful financial entity, and the one group that has been manipulating our economy and our stock market for decades. But before you go writing this off, just wait until you see the new moves that they're executing just under the roots of our entire financial system. Because if you've been wondering why everything in America seems so strange, it starts here. In fact, Business Insider recently asked a powerful question regarding the Federal Reserve, saying, is America really free if a privately owned central bank controls our currency and runs our economy? I mean, just think about that.
Wow. Wait, I want to repeat that. Is America free if a private bank owns and controls our economy? That's a powerful question. But Nomi, the Federal Reserve was created back over 100 years ago. How are they strangling the middle class more than ever right now, transferring wealth from the bottom to the top?
So, John, if you've been worried about soaring inflation, rent increases, credit card debt, and a falling stock market, just wait until you see what's next for America, because it's not just a stock market crash, higher interest rates, or more money printing. The shift triggered by the Fed is going to go down in the history books, and it's going to become a dinner conversation around the entire world. Look, if you've ever wondered why you felt that you've been held back, running in place, working long hours only to just barely get by, it's not your fault. I'm going to tell you point blank, it is because of the Federal Reserve, and they have been legally robbing you for decades. They're the very reason that 64% of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck, and why the personal savings of Americans has crashed to the lowest level since 2008. And why folks are so strapped for cash that they need to purchase everyday household items on credit.
Well, it's true. I mean, it does feel like we're being robbed, and we're being told it's because of Putin's price hike, the war in Ukraine, or greedy businesses raising prices each week. But what you're saying is that it's much bigger than that, yes?
It is much bigger because we are smack dab in the middle of the greatest robbery of the middle class in history. Because right under the nose of every single man and woman in the nation, the Federal Reserve has secretly been serving its friends over at Wall Street, corporate America, and the financial elite. All you have to do is follow the money. My old firm, JP Morgan Chase, has received over $6 trillion at nearly 0% interest from the Federal Reserve in the last few years. $6 trillion, John. Who in America gets that kind of interest rate on $6 trillion?
No one.
The world's biggest companies like Apple, Microsoft, Google, and 10 more companies are currently sitting on $1 trillion in cash each. And that is all while struggling Americans are forced to pay 17% or more interest on their credit card debt. And they earn nearly 0% on their savings in their bank account. Everyday folks are charged ridiculous interest on debt. And the financial elites, who are already rich, by the way, get essentially free money. And that is not an accident. The Fed is the only entity in the world that can print or fabricate trillions of dollars and funnel it into the rich. Take a look at this.
Okay, all right. What am I seeing here?
So this is what I believe to be the biggest lie in financial history. John, if you've ever heard the term trickle down wealth,
Mhm.
this is it. The Fed claims to print money out of thin air to inject into the economy to create more jobs, equality, stimulate small businesses. But in 1977, the Federal Reserve started operating under a new mandate from Congress to, and I quote, promote the goals of maximum employment, stable prices, and to moderate long term interest rates. Well, how well is that going? Do we have maximum employment and stable prices?
Boy, I tell you, if that is the Fed's job, they have failed miserably because 47 million people quit their jobs last year, and the stock market is wobbling back and forth like a teeter totter. I mean, one day it's hitting all new highs, then all of a sudden, bang, you see the worst market day since 2020.
That's exactly right. So here's what's really happening to our economy, John. All of this money printing, it's shifted to the wealthy, to the top 1% of Americans, and that money almost never trickles down to the average person. Matt Taibbi, who's a friend of mine over at Rolling Stones and also an award-winning journalist, states that continuing belief in the trickle-down myth has been destroying and dividing this country for decades. And you want the secret to that, John?
Yeah, don't hold back.
So all of this money printing is boosting the value of assets that the rich already own. That's the secret. This chart explains it all. Just take a look at this. That blue line you see represents the Fed's balance sheet. You can think of this as the amount of money that they've printed. And the black line represents the S&P 500. Do you see how they both pretty much move upward together?
Yeah, they're almost perfectly correlated.
Right? But here's the kicker. Who owns the most stocks? Well, it goes without saying that the vast majority of stocks are owned by the rich. In fact, the top 10% of Americans own 89% of the entire stock market.
Okay, wait a minute. So let me get this straight. The rich own all the assets, such as the stock market. The Fed prints as much money as they want, they inject it into the markets, and it pumps up the value of the assets the rich own. And then the cycle continues.
Yeah, that's right. You got it. This is why Fortune recently said money printing helps the ultra wealthy because they artificially boost asset values. The ultra wealthy can take advantage of record highs in the stock market while the asset poor working class gets by on relatively stagnant hourly wages. John, does that seem fair to you? I mean, the poor and middle class have held flatlined wages since 1980, collecting only a tiny 1% growth in the last 40 years. That astonishing gap between the rich and middle class, that is what I call a permanent distortion.
Ooh, a permanent distortion. I like that.
It's that great separation between the economy and the financial world. And that's regardless of if the markets go up or down. The separation of the rich and elite versus everyone else. So Americans are mostly forced to get by on stagnant wages, followed by insane rate increases, soaring inflation, and never ending debt. So by the end of a 40-hour work week, you're left with scraps. But the wealthy get their assets propped up by the Fed, getting richer every single day. And every day, Americans suffer all of the consequences. Gas has jumped over $5 a gallon. Housing and rent have soared as much as 40% across the nation. And more than 8 million Americans are currently late on their rent. College debt has hit a new record of $1.7 trillion, which is a crisis. Groceries are up as high as 16%. And yet the rich and elite are having the financial payday of their lives. And John, you can thank the Fed for printing over $9 trillion to help prop up assets for the rich, while it creates soaring costs, massive inflation for everyday folks.
Okay, I got to take a breath here.
All right. Salakia. But like I said, I can't play the whole video right now for time's sake. But if you look in the description box, the article titled Cash Panic that I titled in the description box. Clicking on any one of these links should take you to the video, and you should be able to watch it. Continue watching it from there. This is we're at 19-minute mark, so you can watch the whole video or skip to that part, whatever the case is. But I mean, this is pretty much. I mean, we know this kind of stuff, but sometimes there's certain points that I'm sure either she will bring out later on, or she has mentioned that do make sense. So hey, it's up to you to take it from there. But as we all know, all in all, this thing is going down, and it's not just America that's being affected. This is affecting different economies, global economies. Europe, everywhere is being affected. So we're not about to witnessed the crash. We're already in it. You know, the transition is already taking place. And as we read in Ezekiel, we're pretty much at the end. So as the scriptures say, watch as well as pray. You know, and then this is why you got to stay up with the current events, you know, and stay up to date with what's going on. All right, so I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying and informative to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.